Hey, we are rolling. Tony here. Tony back again. Tony's LPs Are Us VC channel. Thanks for stopping in. Hope everyone's doing well. I just have a quick video I thought about today. I was actually scrolling on Facebook and someone put up Band on the Run and mentioned that Christopher Lee is on the cover, the jacket of the Wings classic Band on the Run with Paul and Linda and Denny Lane. So I thought that's interesting. I said, I know off the top of my head, there's a number of LPs that have people, or just sometimes mostly models, but some movie stars, but folks in general that are not the artists that the album is of. So I just put together a quick video of that, and I'm going to go through with you. I pulled all the albums that I have. There's one, Roxy Music, that I couldn't find with Mick Jagger's wife, Hall. Miss Hall. She was on the cover of a Roxy Music album, but I couldn't find that. So I'll be looking for that. And later on, I think she was going out with Brian Ferry. Then later on, she hooked up with Mick Jagger. So, all right, first one up, we're going to do the one I talked about, Band on the Run. And you could see the spotlight here. The band is fugitives of some kind, maybe a prison break. So they've escaped, and we've got that. And let me just say specifically who is on that. I'm going to go through my notes. There's a few folks that are famous in England or London. We know of James Colburn, played in like Flint, movie star, Oscar winner. Kenny Lynch, Clement Freud, Michael Parkinson, who I think has a talk show, and John Kunta or Kunter, and they are the celebrities on the jacket, with Paul, Linda, and Denny. So that's the first one, Band on the Run. Second one up is, I don't really know if this is a cheating thing, but I just went through some of my records, and this was in a crate. That's a soundtrack that has the famous song "Lady in Red," Stevie Wonder, a Woman in Red rather, Stevie Wonder, and that's Kelly LeBrock on the cover. The beautiful Kelly LeBrock, and that's right there. Next up, we have one that's not really a celebrity, but I thought of this record because it's not, the Beach Boys aren't on the cover. This is the Surf's Up LP, originally titled Landlocked by their manager at the time, who was a new manager, and they basically switched it around to Surf's Up, which is more Beach Boys, I guess, right? And let me just see what the sculpture is called. I think the sculpture is called Land's End. Land's End, and this was a depiction of that sculpture, a 1915 painting. The actual title of the sculpture was called End of the Trail, and it was a sculpture by James Earl Fraze. And James Earl Fraze actually designed the nickel, Buffalo nickel. So that's a Beach Boys album without Beach Boys on it. Okay, next up we have I'm sure everyone has that watches VC channels, a great album in its own right. This was after we lost a few of the Allman Brothers to tragedy. Brothers and sisters. Dickie Betts kind of took control with Greg. And on the cover we have Brittany, who was the daughter of Barry Oakley, Brittany Oakley, and on the front is a young Master Trucks from the Beach Boys. And inside there's a whole portfolio of the family of the Allman Brothers with their parents and kids and stuff. So it's a really good cover. And there's Brittany Oakley. And that's the Allman Brothers. Next up is an interesting one. Van Halen. This is an OG copy with the barcode. 5150 5150, which I think is a melting point of metal, some type of metal. And this is a great Van Halen album. And on the cover is a bodybuilder. Let me just find his name here. A bodybuilder. Let me keep that on there for a good thumbnail. Van Halen. And that is a bodybuilder, Rick Valentine. He's a competitive bodybuilder, and he's host of ESPN's Body Shaping. So we have him on the cover, and he said he had a great time doing this cover. This record is from 1986. So that's a bodybuilder on the cover of 5150. Next, we have the famous one, which is probably number one in everyone's mind if they talk about a record that has people on it that aren't the artists on the album. This one is the artist on the album, of course, in different incarnations, but it also has a slew of celebrities that were special to the Fab Four. And you could see that Sgt. Pepper. This is a Apple reissue Apple stereo. I don't believe any of the Apples were mono. And this has all the inserts in it. But just to go over real fast, W.C. Fields, Bob Dylan, Tony Curtis, Tom Mix, Marilyn Monroe, Brando, some intellectuals. I believe that boxer is Sonny Liston, I believe. I could be wrong. There's another boxer of that era, but it could be. Lauren Hardy are on here. Just a bunch of people. I also took some note of folks that I didn't know offhand. Let me just see where that is. Oh, Dion is on here. Johnny Weissmuller. Stu Stutcliffe, who played bass for the Beatles in early 60s and then left and tragically passed away. So this would be number one in most people's celebrities on a record that aren't everyone that's on the artist per se. Here's a good one. This is a great Nectar album, Magic as a Child. And if anyone's interested, please check out my interview I did of Angel Freeman, who's the widower of Taft Freeman, the keyboard player, the original keyboard player, founding member, legendary Nectar. But this is Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields did this album cover. You know, she was maybe 12 years old or whatever. She's actually on the insert right there on the inner sleeve. Brooke Shields, Nectar. This is a rare one that turns up in a lot of cheesecake sales on eBay or YouTube. This is Jayne Mansfield, famous actress, 50s actress, Siren, a pinup girl for men only. And this is on the Tops label, no pun intended. And this has on it arranged and conducted by Lou Raymond, Whatever Lola Wants, Rags to Riches, Unchained Melody, just a couple of these songs on here. Mr. Sandman, some great songs. And that's Jayne Mansfield. So that's one that doesn't show up on any lists online. This is one that I just happen to remember that I had in the collection. I don't think I've ever played it. This, again, that parallels the Sgt. Pepper of famous people on the record, although this was kind of unauthorized at the time. The Beatles too, I think they mailed out letters to the celebrities, and a few of them said, no way, I don't want to be on the album cover. But most people submitted, a yes or whatever through their attorneys, and they were on the album cover. The Stones didn't do that on some girls. They just went ahead and used these girls' images. And on here we have Raquel Welch, Lucille Ball, Farrah Fawcett, Bridget Bardot, I believe Marilyn Monroe, just a number of celebrities. And they were later sued, and all subsequent records or jackets, rather, had the actual celebrities replaced with just a blank photo or blank animated cartoon. And but this is a die cast, and if you pull it out, this is actually a top loader, I believe. It's how it came. Oh no, it's just split. But here you could see the actual celebrities. Really nice. Farrah Fawcett, Raquel just passed away. Farrah passed away. Lucille Ball. Red Buttons is on here, and Desi. Okay, so next is Candy O. This is a top model. The Cars classic #1 album, Candy O, and Dangerous Type, and Candy O. And it's funny, if I check my notes, I believe the model on here is Candy. It's Candy Moore, model actress. She played a bit part in Raging Bull as Linda. She was also, speaking of Lucille Ball's teen daughter in the Lucy Show from 62 to 65 as Chris Carmichael, Lucille Ball's daughter in the TV series. So that's Candy Moore and Candy O. I never put the two and two together that Candy O was actually the name of the girl on the cover. Here's another one that's interesting girl on the cover. This is a Roger Waters classic. I believe Clapton's on this. I could be wrong, but I thought Clapton might be. Yeah, Clapton's on here. Ray Cooper, Andy Newmark. This is a great record, 1984 or so. And this has a model on it, also a porn star. There's a porn star on the cover there. And this is a subsequent issue. I think I have the CD that's not edited, but her posterior was showing. And they later pulled that and replaced it with this. And let me get her name for you guys that want to look it up on various sites. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, this is the Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, 1984. Lindsay Drew. And Lindsay is spelled, of course, porn style. Linzi, Drew, adult film star. And her posterior was covered up in this copy. The original just had it hanging out, which was cool. She was also in 1981's American Werewolf in London. So she was in that movie as well. Here's one that we all know, non-famous people, but on a record that was still timeless. The original Woodstock. And the original Woodstock, the photographer just happened to snap these two 20-year-olds. And their names are Bobby Kelly and Eric Orcolene. They were 20 years old at the time. I believe they later married, but that's the cover, Woodstock. So some interesting ones here. This is a good one. This is one of my favorite soul funk records. Ohio Players always had great covers. This is a great gatefold. Right there. You can see that. I remember when I was working at the record store during the time this was released, this was a huge seller, and I was able to get a bunch of promo posters, maybe 22 by 20, small posters on heavy stock paper that I unfortunately got rid of. I wish I had at least one, but this was a great one. There's the Ohio Players. And her name is, I believe it's Esther something. Esther Cordette. And Esther Cordet, right here, was a Playmate of the Month for Playboy in August of 1974. So you can look up, all you guys out there, or gals, whatever, you can look up Lindsay, the porn star, and you can look up this Playboy, August of 74. I probably have that somewhere. Great cover, iconic album. Here's one, and the last one, which I didn't know about this, but this is the classic Ooh La La by the Faces. I believe it's his last LP. This is the one that actually, you could see it actually is a die cut, and his face moves up and down. And this is Ooh La La 73. Italian actor Ettore Petrolini, who's an actor, a singer, and for some reason, the boys of the band dug him. He was an obscure. I'm thinking in England, in the U.S. He was obscure. He was in kind of a vaudeville setting in Italy, but he was a singer and actor. Did skits, did the whole bit, and he is on the cover for some reason. Pretty wild. This is a great sounding record, engineered by Glenn Johns. If you don't have this, I would recommend this album as well. And there was one that I couldn't locate. I know I had it. It's the Guess Who, Share the Land. And on that cover, it's inside a barn. I could see it in my head. And there's a gentleman in there. And supposedly he was the chief of the Cherokee Nation. That was in 1973, 74. At the time, he was 81 years old. So, and also, I didn't pull it, but the Kansas album, Kansas, I guess it's self-titled, had John Brown on it, the abolitionist, the great cover where his arms are stretched out. It's a famous painting. It's a little insert of the actual painting, and that's John Brown on the Kansas record. So I think we touched base on everyone. Like I said, Hall, which was on Roxy Music, that's Jerry Hall. She was on that. But, something to think about. If you have any records that you know of have the non-celebrities on the cover, the people not depicted in the record, that the record isn't of, please let me know. And I hope you like this segment. Thanks again for stopping in. I really appreciate all the subscriptions and the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you haven't liked it, please do so. It's really cool to do. But thanks a lot for everyone out there. Stay safe. It's kind of cold. We have a lot of ice and snow this week. This weekend's supposed to be very cold up here in the Northeast. So keep rocking and stay safe, and have a great weekend. But I'll probably see you before the weekend's over. Thanks a lot. Keep rocking. Ciao.